Hi, I'm Julia and this is my shed. So today's job, what we want to do is carry on with the boiler fitting really. So we have the superheater assembly here, and this is what we need to get it to look like. So we have an adapter, which I've got, more on later. We've got a gas rated valve, which we've got. And then there's an adapter between the gas valve and here, and with a nut. So we've got various nuts here. So, but we're missing that adapter, and unfortunately, this thread is not correct for the boiler that I've got. So it's been made to a different design. So I need to do a couple of things. I need to see if this distance is still correct. To the new the boiler that I've got. So I need to check that distance is right, because I may need to shorten this or make it longer. I also need to obviously make a new one of these and then make an adapter. So I have got some of the locking nuts, so at least I know what threads I need to make, so it's not a complete disaster. So that's the first thing. We need to make a new one of these, make an adapter. I need to take this handle off and make a handle, which I'll cover later on if we do it this week. But obviously you can't reach inside the smoke box and do this to turn the steam on, so we need to get some levers working. So yeah, so enough waffle. Let's see what material we've got and start making some adapters. So it's possible for me to actually measure where the pipes are going to go. I need to take off the smoke box. So what I've done is I've set up some spacers here. I've just used some feeler gauges just to get the right height, so that's pretty much level. That's not super critical. The length this way is, and that's determined by the chassis. So what we'll try and do is we'll take this off and then we'll put the boiler on, and then we'll give it a go. So I need to take these steam pipes off next. So we'll do that, and then I'll bring you back once we've got the boiler in place. Okay, so we've got the superheater in place. I've just done some measuring up on the smoke box, so I've got a line scribed on the boiler where the regulator is going to be, and basically the centre point of the regulator needs to be this distance, which is about 45.5 mil. So I think this bush that was provided is probably going to be about, the body needs to go to that point, and then we need the threaded part to continue the same distance again. So that'll give me that distance, so that's useful. I then need to figure out what's going on this side as well. So I think this gap's a bit bigger than the original design as well. So we'll figure that out and I'll bring you back. This is the bush I used for pressure testing. What I basically need to do is drop this downwards. So this should be fairly malleable. So what I'm going to do is tighten up these connections here so we hold the position there quite well, and then I'm just going to apply some pressure there, and that should push it downwards, hopefully. So we'll give that a go and see what happens. Ooh, that's nearly right. Very nearly right. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult for you to see, but basically what I've done is the superheater just needed a bit of adjustment. So what I've done is I've put this bar in, pressing against the lip of the front boiler flange, and then I've just pushed down on this a little bit just to try and centralise the superheater, sort of this banjo fitting here, just to get it in line with the dummy bush I've got in at the moment. And I've tightened all these up, and actually the position of the pipes on these fittings actually looks a lot better now. So I'm quite pleased with how that's this was a bit close to the edge. It's sort of centralised a bit more now. So hope you can see that. It's so lighting's not great, but although it looks a bit wonky, it is actually fitting correctly now. So I'm quite pleased to get that done. It was starting to worry me somewhat. So what I'll do is now I've got everything lined up, I can take the smoke box off again, and we should be able to carry on as we were then. Okay, so effectively what we've done is we've just moved this section downwards a little bit. It is a bit of flexibility, but that lines up now on those three sides. I'm particularly worried about the top really being in line, and these faces look reasonably parallel now. So that's all looking a lot better now. Yeah, so just need to push that over very slightly, but I'm not really worried about that. Actually, that's probably done it. Yeah, so spot on there now. These have all still fairly soft, I guess because they've been annealed when they were silver soldered or brazed. So I'm reasonably happy with how that's gone. I'm hoping that will do the trick. So now what I can do is measure the distance of the total bush I need to make, and that's going to just be a lot easier. So it's all good stuff. So this boiler test bush has actually come in handy, so that's nice. The bush, this is about the size of the bush in the boiler. The Modelworks boiler has a much smaller bush and a much smaller thread, so yeah, that's why we've got quite a lot of difference on this side. But when we make the new adapter, we obviously use a bigger bit of brass, so all good stuff. Okay, so I had a rummage through my chucks for the Myford, and I bought this actually from Myford. It might have been from when they closed down, and it had these weird sort of obviously for some specific purpose jaws attached to the soft jaws. So I picked it up because it is actually a nice Pratt Bernard chuck, I'm using it today because these soft jaws are actually just a tiny bit deeper than the normal jaws. So we'll have a go with that and see how we get on. So the first thing we need to do is just very carefully face the end off. So I'm just tickling a tiny bit off on each pass, because we really don't want it to dig in. That's quite a substantial chunk of brass, we don't want that on the head. Obviously once this is faced I can put a centre in it and support it on a rotating centre. Still need to take a bit more off. There we go, that's lovely. Right, so I'll put a centre drill in and we'll hold it on the on that then, and that'll just be a lot more secure. And there we go. Right, that just makes things a bit, just a little bit more usable. So I'm going to start turning this down for the threaded portion. So I need quite a bit that's just circular to clear the edge of the boiler. So I'll turn that distance down, which is it's going to be 22 altogether. So if we zero the Y, and then we'll start taking this interrupted cut. Looks like I need to clear that off as well. So we'll do that. Find my right, there we go. So let's carry on. I will try and tighten up the tool bit though, that will probably help a bit, won't it? Oops. Yeah, don't try this at home, kids. Still lots to do. So I'll put you on time lapse until we get all this off. So you can see I've put a nice chamfer on these corners. So the next job is to drill the hole that will go all the way through the fitting, which is 1/4 of an inch. So that's the size of the steam port. Right, I'll leave that for the time being then. I think that's a good start for that. So next job is to tap half an inch by 26 TPI, which is what I've measured the steam pipe that goes inside this one. The outside bush should be 7/8 26 TPI. So I'll find out what the tapping drill size is for that. So for 1/2 inch 26, the tapping drill size is 11.7. So quite a chunky beast. Okay, so I've found a 10mm drill for starters, so we'll go in with that and then finish off with an imperial drill, which is the nearest I could find. Gone in about 3/4 of an inch there. So we're using a 15-30 seconds as the tapping drill size. Or we will do once we've found a drill truck that will take it. I'll probably slow the motor down a little bit, see how we get on. There we go. I'll just show you the size of the drill chuck I'm using. It's huge. So that's the normal size drill chuck. So this is you. This is the drill chuck your lathe told you not to worry about. Yes, okay, size isn't everything apparently. Right, so the next thing is to have a go at tapping. I'll try and get it started with it in the drill chuck. It's probably going to start turning fairly quickly. Oh no, we are getting in, so that's good. So that's well started now. So I'll get a tap wrench for that, and we'll use the sprung loaded centre if I can find it. So this is one of those setups you won't see in the textbooks. So my 7/8 26 die is quite big. I don't actually have anything to hold it. So what I've got is 3-jaw chuck with outside jaws on it to hold the die. That is on the MT2 chuck adapter that I use in my dividing head, and then that's obviously mounted in the tailstock. So we've got quite a lot of overhang here, there's a lot of weight here, so you just have to be a little bit careful lining up the threads initially, and it's just a case of just take your time, but it will hold the die quite nicely. So I was just checking that we are on the chamfered side. I think we are. I might just check that actually before we go too far. But you get the general idea anyway. So I'll put you on time lapse to watch this. Hopefully that's this one done now. What I'm going to do is take it out the chuck and see if it'll actually screw on to both threads at the same time. If not, we can sort of counterbore maybe that bit, just so that or take a few. Actually, no, we'll probably take a few threads off this one, so that we know the inner's definitely started before we try and get the outer one. You don't really want them to be starting at the same time, because you've got a big danger of cross threading the inner one. But I'll just offer it up and see how it feels. Just have to use very light touch for this. So I couldn't get it started, so what I'm just going to do is use the chamfering tool just to take the first few threads off. So what we did on the other bush was actually just have quite a large section there that wasn't threaded. Put a chamfer so we can start the external thread. And we'll just clean up that external thread. Make sure that's nice and clean. Right, we'll try that then, shall we? Okay, so I'm just going to have a quick go using a high-speed steel parting blade just to undercut the thread, so the thread isn't cut all the way up to the shoulder, so we just need to add an undercut in, so it will seal, that face will seal all the way up to the bush. Oh dear, that's a bit wobbly. We'll try again. Tiny bit more. should do it. Okay, so I've got both threads lining up quite nicely now. So the way it works is you have to sort of get the inner pipe, steam collection pipe, started first. So you can see now the inner pipe is now connected, but I haven't actually started the thread on the outer thread yet, and it's a little bit stiff. There was quite a lot of PTFE in this. It's a bit squeaky. But that's pretty much all the way in now, so I'm quite pleased with that. Hopefully you can see that. So once we get a bit of sealant around that, that should be a nice steam tight seal. So I'm happy with how all that's gone. Bit squeaky. I think one of the threads is a tiny bit tight, but that's okay. We don't want it leaking anyway. So there you go. So you can see, hopefully you can see, I've removed the threads on the outer quite a distance, so that we definitely get it started on the inner, and then you get the. Obviously, it's quite hard to get the threads synchronized on the outside, so I just shave off a very small amount on the lathe, and then try it and keep trying it until it'll engage. You know, you can sort of. What I tend to do is once the inner thread's engaged, I sort of try sort of pulling back, or sort of jiggling it so that you can get the outer thread aligned as well, because they're not synchronized, but they are the same pitch, so once you get it started they should be okay. But obviously there's a slight difference in size, and that's why it's a bit squeaky. But that doesn't, so it's probably either the forward or the rear flank of the thread is engaging a bit harder than the other side, sort of thing. So but it's, there's no copper being shredded off or anything. It's all quite nice, so I'm pretty pleased with that. So I'll need to make up some sort of a washer or gasket or something just to go over there, but I will use some sealing compound as well. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. So we can get on with the other end of this now. Okay, so we've got one end of the wet header finished now. So the next job is I need to cut this to size. So I've scribed a mark there where the black is, and I would have done this in my hacksaw, but unfortunately it's decided it's not working anymore. So I haven't got time today to have a look at that. It's slightly annoying. So we'll need to. I'll use the parting off blade, I think. Well, I'm going to have a go anyway. But again, we've got a lot of overhang there. So first job will be to centre drill it so we can support it on the end. So I'm not bothering to face this because I don't need this part today, and there's no need. Okay, so I've got the parting blade set up. I've locked the carriage so it can't move towards the tailstock end. We've got a tailstock support. It's as good as we can get there, so let's give it a go. Obviously it's going to be an interrupted cut at first. When I'm doing deep cuts, I'll go so far and then back it out, and that just gives the if we're going off at a slight angle, the parting blade then just gets another cut at it, so it'll make a slightly wider slot hopefully. Just hopefully stops the blade getting pinched. But yeah, indexable parting off blades, especially if you run them upside down, they really work very well. Not quite through. Oh, I've just pulled my insert off. So quite a bit of friction there, unfortunately. So I need to see if I can find that, because they're expensive. That's the sort of finish you get. Quite pretty. Okay, so the next job is we just want to remove that little nubbin from where we parted off, and then we'll just face up that edge, and then I will centre pop it, and we'll be able to support it again, so we can then use that to turn it down. There we go. So I'm just making sure there's enough room for the carriage to go back, because we're going to turn this section down a little bit. So we need to turn this down 13.06. It needs to go in 8mm. See, we're getting lots of little chips off this particular bronze or brass, whatever it is. We've still got quite a lot more to take off, so I'll put you on time lapse for now. So the next job is to thread this 1/4 BSP. So I'm going to support my die using the chuck. So I'll use that to apply a bit of pressure. While we turn it. I need to quite awkward. Okay, so the last job is I've just you saw me on the time lapse. I've just undercut the back a bit, just so we can come right up to the shoulder. So the last job is just to go through with a 1/4 inch drill. Just to join up with the drilling we did on the other side. So that's the wet header finished. So we've got the regulator, which is here. So that's what we've done so far. So the next job is to make something that will go between the regulator and the superheater assembly, which is here. So that's the next job. So we need to drill and tap this side for 1/4 BSP again. We can leave a part of it as a hex, and then we need a section that's 16mm diameter or 5/8 to go through the banjo fitting. And I've already got luckily I've got the nut and bolt to go on the end. So sorry, the nut and the washer. So that saved me a little bit of a job. Okay, so that's the wet header installed with the regulator. So obviously we need to put a different handle on the regulator valve. So the next section we've got to do is this piece that goes from the regulator to this. I'm calling it sort of a banjo fitting because it's inside. It's bored inside. So the pipe will come in, and then it will have cross holes which will go into this wider boring in the middle, then down into the superheater tubes. So we're definitely getting there. So I just need to do some measurements on this, and then we can start making that fitting. So unfortunately the only bit of brass I've got is quite long, and as my bandsaw has decided to stop working, we've got quite a lot of stick out here. So we'll do the usual centre drill and then support with the centre, the rotating centre. And when you're switching on with something like this, make sure you're not in the firing line. So I'm actually gonna bring that so it's almost touching before I start it, so that will stop it hopefully going that way. So I'll switch it on and I will stand well away. There we go. That's okay, so I can come back now and we're reasonably safe. So we'll get that centre on and we can support it, and then everything's a bit safer then, isn't it? So we'll start turning this down. We need to get this down to 5/8 so we can tap the end, thread the end. So we'll start on that. Okay, so the next thing to do is we need a 5/8 by 26 TPI thread. Up until, I'm not sure if you can see, I've made a mark at basically 23mm from the shoulder. So that should get us in the right sort of ballpark. So we'll see how we get on. Applying pressure with a drill chuck initially. Carry on. These larger threads take quite a bit of effort. Goodness me, this isn't easy. I think I may have left it a bit too still need to go a bit further. I think I've left the, I should have taken a bit more meat off the shaft before threading, so we're actually reducing the diameter slightly as well. Right, let's look at that there. So we need about 23 here as a minimum. Yeah, I've got just over 20, so that's lovely. We can take that off now. Yeah. So next job is to see if the nut will fasten on. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Excellent. So thankfully I thought I'd test this fits before I remove it from the chuck, and it does need a little bit more shaving off it. So I've just increased the number of threads we've got there. Now we've got that's nice and tight. There'll be one washer this side, one washer this side, and then the nut. This side is blank, so steam can't come out this side. We need to cross drill basically in the middle here. So yeah, so I'll probably do the cross drilling next while it's in this chuck, and then I'll turn it around and do the rest. So I need to mark where the cross drills are going to be, and they should effectively be in the centre of this banjo fitting. So just by eye I'm just going to sort of mark roughly where I need to be. So I don't know exactly how big these holes need to be. The total surface area needs to be bigger than 1/4 of an inch, so I might do 4 holes with 1/8 of an inch perhaps, or not sure yet. Maybe just go through 1/4 of an inch or something, just do a hole through each side. That's another possibility, isn't it? Okay, so this doesn't need to be super accurate. So to get the centre, get on centre line, I'm just using a point and a ruler. When the ruler's horizontal, you're pretty much in the centre. And again, I've set that up by eye. So now we can centre drill it. see I've got a jack underneath it. Because it's got a hex head screw, it means I can go all the way through. Which is handy. And the drill I've chosen is 7/32. So that's 1/32 below 1/4 of an inch. Obviously you'll have two holes, so that should be loads, I think. Go through. There we go. So that's our cross holes done. Now we can take it out of the chuck, turn it around and machine the other end. Okay, so now we need to cut this off. I need 13mm of this hex section, so we'll do that now. Double check. Yep, just over 13. That gives me a bit of leeway to clean things up afterwards. Oh. Okay. So I'll just clean up this edge and then we can centre drill it and drill up to the cross drilling. And then the final job is to drill and tap for the pipe thread. Make sure we're on 13 there. We could take a teeny bit more off. And then we want a nice big chamfer on that so we're not scratching ourselves on the sharp corners. Nice. There we go. And then finally the 1/4 inch. I just adjusted the position of that so I can see through the cross holes, so I've got some idea of where I'm aiming for. I should be able to feel it anyway, but it's nice to get some idea so that I can stop the drill from grabbing, hopefully. We're going to have to travel on the tailstock. Let's come back again, shall we? Okay, I think we've come all the way through there. That looks excellent. So I'm just sort of touching the far side of the cross drilling. So as luck would have it, I've actually got a spare drill. It's the correct tapping size with the tap, so that saved me a bit of time. We'll try again. I need at least 8mm of thread. Probably go in a little bit more. Give ourselves a bit of leeway. Okay, so that should be plenty. So we'll start off with the taper tap. So I couldn't get the tap in far enough to get the required number of threads, so I'm just going to drill a little bit deeper. So the banjo straight section is 16mm, this is under 12mm, so we've got 2mm either side. So we should be okay. There we go. So I'll go over to the bench vise and carry on tapping this. Right, so I think that'll do. I'll just get a bit of a chamfer on this corner. That looks good. So it's time for a trial assembly. Okay, so that's the wet header and regulator assembly all done. in terms of the pipe work at least. I won't seal it up just yet, but very pleased with how that's gone. It's starting to look like a proper thing now, isn't it? So the next thing is to do the linkage between this gas valve and the lever on the outside of the smoke box. I may need to change the smoke box lever. Apparently it's a bit small, so you don't get enough leverage to open and close this properly. So that'll be the next thing we do, but overall I'm ever so pleased with that. Usually making this connection to the steam collection pipe can be quite fraught, a bit stressful, but I'm really pleased with how that's gone today. So I hope you've enjoyed that, found it useful or informational, educational. Please leave a comment for me. I'm always interested to hear what you have to say. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.